Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of Null News. We're gonna jump really quickly into some of the news that happened. I actually have a little bit of old news that happened in December. I know I was kind of took like half of November and December off, um, and there was a couple things that happened that I thought I'd bring up. So I might every once in a while bring up some old stuff, and then I'll still leave some time at the end for general discussions. I have a bunch of stuff today, a bunch of projects around gitops. I know that's one of the things this year that we are looking at. And so I got a lot of projects that I really like with gitops and ones that we'll probably be exploring more in the future. All right, let's switch over to here. All right, so I hope this layout works a little bit better. I've worked on it a bit. Still has some improvements to go, I know, but hopefully we'll get better each time. All right, so the first thing, I found this article by AJ Canales. I don't know how to pronounce your name if you watch this. It's really cool. I'm actually going to make a video doing this because I'm making a Raspberry Pi 4 Kubernetes clusters. And I had something I wanted to run on it, but it needed storage. And so I was looking for somebody that had run Ceph on Raspberry Pi and found this. So I'm going to include that into my Raspberry Pi 4 cluster. So anyways, cool article. I'll be linking it into the description. And actually, that brings me up. Hopefully, all of these links will be available at the very start in the future. I meant to do that today, actually. My bad. Anyway, so it's definitely worth a read. It's really well thought out and laid out. So if you're looking at running a home cluster on Raspberry Pis, I would suggest checking it out. All right, so this is some of the stuff here that I was talking about that happened in December. Amazon released their managed service for Grafana and Prometheus. So I think that this is very interesting, if nothing else. I know a lot of people use Grafana and Prometheus. It's kind of the de facto for monitoring and whatnot. So Grafana, the dashboard, and Prometheus as the backend database. So, anyways, these are the two that I thought I'd bring up because they're very much a something a lot of people use. All right. The other thing that Amazon released this week was that the API now supports the EC2. It supports IPv6. So this is cool. I know it's been rolling out. Google supports IPv6. I actually, honestly, before this announcement, didn't realize that EC2 instances didn't support IPv6. So it's refreshing to see these providers continuing to push forward in supporting IPv6. If you don't know the difference between IPv4 and IPv6, basically more addresses in IPv6. We can get into that. They actually fixed a lot of stuff, not just address ranges, so you could like do broadcasts correctly and stuff. But maybe that's a whole video on its own. But anyways, EC2 now EC2's API now supports IPv6. All right. So SNS added. So this is their simple notification service here. SNS is adding support for sending message archiving through Kinesis Firehose. So if that's something that you do or something you want or have used a workaround, it now supports it. All right, let's get out of the cloud. There wasn't much on Azure or GCP that was easily and readily available or anything very interesting that happened in those. But I did find some stuff that is actually very interesting. The Beagle 5. Now, if you don't know what RISC-V CPU architecture is, this is very exciting for me. So basically, ARM was kind of the thing that you could have used before this, and that's what the Raspberry Pi and some of these things are. The RISC-V is a completely open processor architecture, and this Beagle 5 is actually an open hardware design. So basically, you could go and make this all yourself, and it has all open source hardware components, and it's actually really cool. So RISC-V hasn't really had very many processors that were cheap. The cheapest dev, what was it? Or Hi-Fi had their, it was about $1,000 dev board, but it was like a single or dual core processor. It wasn't very good, and it's been very expensive. And this is going to be a very affordable. I think it's starting like, I saw a price somewhere. I'm going to say around $100. I'm going to say $100, around $100. I have already applied for one, so hopefully I can get one quickly and we can test it out and see how it works. I have never actually run something on the RISC-V processor architecture. Supposedly this is going to support Linux, so we're going to also play around and see with that. So anyways, if this type of stuff interests you, yeah, be looking forward to it, because I'm excited that it's happening. It's pretty cool. We live in a pretty awesome time so far, from what I've seen. Oh, this was something I found interesting, because I had this exact same response. Wait, you mean they aren't already? So in Ubuntu 2104, they're going to make the home directories private by default. I didn't realize they weren't. So I found this kind of interesting. So anyways, that's coming up. I don't know that will really affect anything more than just an interesting fact that they weren't. I mean, I suppose it could affect something if you... Won't affect anything for me. I can say that easily enough. Cockroach Labs. So Cockroach makes Cockroach DB. I don't know why you would name yourself this. I'm horrible at naming, so probably the worst person to be giving advice on naming, but like, I don't know. Maybe they're saying their database is so hard to kill. Maybe that's a good selling. I don't know. Anyways, they got a new round of funding for that valued them at $2 billion. That's kind of crazy for a database persons. I actually haven't used Cockroach. I've used Mongo and some other ones, but never Cockroach. So this was a little bit surprising to me. I knew that they had done some stuff. Actually, one of the reasons I know Cockroach the best is they did a really cool write-up on multi-raft. So if you don't know what multi-raft is, it's a way to basically scale the raft algorithm. So if your raft is kind of the brain of Kubernetes, because it's the brain of etcd. Sorry, etcd is the brain of Kubernetes, and the raft algorithm is what empowers it. Anyways, they did a really cool thing on multi-raft and scaling Kubernetes to the extreme. We're talking lots of nodes, lots more than 5,000. So anyways, that was cool. I'll include the link to that article in the description afterwards. I'll leave that up to remind me. All right, now let's get on to some open source projects. I know that I wanted to do a couple. I have one that stands out, and then the rest are going to be gitops tools. So I know we're doing a lot of gitops. I wanted to give you guys a quick intro into some really cool gitops tools. The first is a new project that's just come out. I think it's actually really cool. It's called Chimera. It has this cute little guy here. That's a chimera, if you don't know what it is. I think in the US we pronounce this chimera. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so it's a whole list of tools and some things, but what it mainly is this Chimera cube. It's a admission controller, a dynamic admission controller that loads Chimera policies to validate admission requests. But the cool thing about it is that it is WebAssembly based. So instead of learning whatever language it is that you need, you can actually use this to write it in whatever language that supports WebAssembly. So if you can export it as a WebAssembly module, you can actually use your own admission controller here. So you don't have to learn Go to make one. So I thought this was really cool. So if you're wanting to make an admission controller, you don't want to write it in Go, check out Chimera Admission. Yeah, I thought it was a cool little project. It's early on in development, so I mean, yeah, very early, but cool project. All right, let's get into gitops here. So by far my favorite gitops for Kubernetes is Argo CD. If you don't know what it is, link will be in the description, but I mean, Argo CD I don't think needs any explanation. It's a pretty big player in the gitops world. Argo CD is quite fantastic and is definitely worth checking out. I really like it. Now, the only thing I can say is it's a little heavyweight. So if you really need a lightweight solution, maybe Argo CD isn't your option. But other than that, it has a great team, has lots of updates, and does some really cool things. All right, so let's move on to some other ones that are maybe not as well known. The first one I would have to say is auto apply. So auto apply is a way to automatically apply changes to a Kubernetes cluster. So they have this, let me turn off dark mode here. They have this picture. It's a little bit hard to read, but basically they're having the, you're pushing to Git. Auto apply will pull the changes via webhook, or it will get up via webhook, and then auto apply it to Kubernetes. So this is how auto apply does what it does. It's actually quite a lot simpler than Argo CD. So if you're looking for a small, simple solution, this is quite a bit simpler to do some GitOps types of stuff, but it also has fewer options, fewer dashboards, and things like that. The next thing is Flux. Now, I actually only ever used Flux v1, and I know that they were looking at the updating it for Argo CD, but it looks like they took a different direction. And so I've actually spent a little bit of time looking into Flux v2, and I think that it's definitely worth trying out again. It looks like they've done a lot of work here. I haven't used it since Flux v1 though, so I couldn't tell you. I didn't like Flux v1 as much, but this looks really, really promising. And it's using the GitOps toolkit. We can look at what that is here. So this is just like a list of components for the GitOps toolkit. It's kind of your repository. You have your controller, customized controller, Helm controller, and notification controller. So that's the GitOps toolkit. It's just basically a set of APIs and controllers that Flux. So anyways, we'll explore Flux v2 a little bit. Yeah. All right, here is Pharos. I had actually never heard of this one. I was digging in for GitOps to show you guys this week, and this is one that I found for you guys. So Pharos is a GitOps controller, and it uses CRDs. So CRDs are a big thing in GitOps. If you're not noticing that at this point, GitOps are a huge thing in or CRDs are, because CRDs can be managed and I want to say licensed, but not licensed, versioned in something like Git, as well as be tracked. So that's why they use them a lot. And this is another one. So it's worth checking out, see if it fits your team's need. I don't have a lot of experience in it, so I couldn't actually tell you too much about it more than that. And of course, there's GitCube. So this is just it's a tool for building and deploying Docker images on Kubernetes using Git push. So basically, it's just another thing that sits with Git push, allows you to basically push it straight to your Kubernetes cluster. So yeah. I find this GitCube to be really useful in development and just doing little quick things. It's actually pretty fast and simple to set up. Argo CD, on the other hand, is actually, and this is why all of these things are useful, because like Argo CD, if you're wanting to set up this for a just a little bit of a test cluster or dev, it's a lot of work. It's the same as Kubeflow. Kubeflow is a lot of work if all you want to do is run one ML pipeline. Argo CD is somewhat similar. So it's nice to have a couple tools in your arsenal to solve those. All right, that is it for me today. Let's see, what was the time? Okay, I can go a little bit slower and we can talk about things a little bit. I'm trying to hit for like between 15 minutes and half an hour so that they're nice, concise, not too much. Anyways, let me know what you like. Also, please, if you have a project, I know that I keep saying this, but if you have a project, tweet at me or hit me up on Discord before the day, like 5 minutes beforehand, and I will make sure to get your project out here and understand it a little bit so I can share it. I do try to go through and read these a little bit. I will try to go through and read it and understand it a little bit. If you want to send an explanation as well, that would be great. And we'll go over more tools. This time we focused on gitops, I know, other than Chimera. And yeah, so anyways, thank you everyone for joining me. I hope that you found this useful. And let me know what you like about it, what you don't like, so I can keep updating it for what you guys would like to see. Otherwise, I'm good. I hope you guys have a fantastic next week, and I look forward to doing this again next Sunday. Bye, guys.